So this is my VZ-61 Skorpion. There are many like it, but this one is mine. This guy's kind of kitted out to be ridiculous because it is one of my fun guns. I don't take it super seriously, even though I did SBR this guy, but it is incredibly fun to shoot. So those of you who don't know what the VZ-61 Skorpion is, it is a little submachine gun, or a lot of people call it a machine pistol, but I would personally classify it as just a super duper tiny submachine gun, primarily because it is not on the inside anything like a pistol. It's got a bolt, it's got the hammer system entirely inside. It just operates like a rifle does. So it's just a super teeny tiny mini rifle. Now this guy is chambered in 32 ACP. For those who are unfamiliar with 32 ACP, this shows 32 ACP next to 9mm, 9mm being on the right, 32 ACP being on the left. It was originally made in the Czech Republic. The Yugoslavians picked it up as well, so you'll find some Zastava copies of it too. But this one is from Checkpoint. Now these feed from a 20-round box-fed magazine. You can also get 10-rounders, which are pretty nifty as well. They actually make holsters for them, and even a Kydex company is making a holster for this in the original configuration where it has the old overfolding stock. So what I really enjoy about this, and hate to say it, one of my guilty pleasures is 32 ACP. Really like shooting this a lot. It's really low recoil. It's accurate enough. It's definitely not the most accurate subgun I have, but out to like 50, 100 yards, I can still consistently make hits with this, which makes it really fun. The ammo is expensive, but it borderline feels like you're shooting a 22, but it's got a little more oomph to it. So I just enjoy shooting that quite a bit. Now this guy is threaded. I have suppressed it before, but I do find that suppressing it does affect the reliability to a degree. I had quite a few malfunctions, and I think it's just because there's too much back pressure on this blowback system. Now, the way I have this guy kitted out, because I'm ridiculous, it's not a practical setup at all, but I wanted to make it as like practical and tactical as possible. So what I ended up doing was putting a Holosun 507C on top of an IL manufacturing optic mount, and this optic mount also has a little light section here as well. So I put a TLR9 that I got for dirt cheap from my old work on here, so at night I'm actually able to use this pretty dang well, and I'll roll in some footage from that too. Now, nothing super crazy to talk about. I did have the IL manufacturing side charging handle on here, but what I found was I actually broke it. It's made out of 3D printed plastic, and the little hinge where it connects to the bolts here actually broke. So I ended up going back to these little nubbins. So charging this guy, instead of being a side charger like that IL manufacturing was, I have to come over the top, grab both the nubbins, and rack it back. It does have a last round hold open feature, which is pretty neat as well. It's got really mediocre sights if you're looking to do that. But past that, let's move on back. The safety on it is not the most ergonomic. Again, I think this was made in the early 60s, and so it wasn't really made to be crazy ergonomic. So how I like to grip this with the light, there's not a lot of real estate here, as you can imagine, but how I like to grip it is on the magazine, and I rest my thumb on the light here. The reason why I rest my thumb here, I really like to do thumb over bore, but you really can't do that because this does have reciprocating nubs, and these things will smack you pretty hard. So thumb over light, hold it like so, and shoot. Holds up really well. The magazine release is actually pretty intuitive. You grab the magazine and you got the release right here, and you pull it out, grab a new one. There is no bolt drop on this guy, so to drop the bolt you actually have to come back and rack it. It'll drop the bolt forward. Overall, for such a small little gun, it's incredibly handy. 32 ACP can do the job, but it's kind of like slapping them with a wet napkin to a degree. Let's move back. I do have the original plastic grip that came with this guy, and I have an Isle Manufacturing Picatinny back end. A really cool part about this is it also has a QD slot here. So if you're the type of cool dude who wants to run a single point sling with this, you can do it. So lastly, I did put a SIG minimalist stock on here. It's not exactly ideal. One thing I really find gets in the way is this little hinge here. You'll see that it hits the back of my thumb, my very back knuckle. So it gets a little uncomfortable shooting it after a while, but it's not due to the recoil. It's just because I grip real tight. And so it kind of indents on there. If you really wanted to, you could go with a different stock with a better hinge system for this. But what I really like about this is it folds up super tiny. This guy is just about the size of my Beretta M9, at least lengthwise and height-wise. With the magazine, it does take up a little more space than the M9, but not a significant portion here. So it's just a really cool gun to get out and shoot and have fun with. It's a piece of history. It's a classic. Anyone who played GoldenEye 007 knows this gun as the Grom. But hands down one of my favorites. I know it's dumb, but I love it. So if you think I should convert this back to the retro overfolding Skorpion stock and just iron sights instead of this ridiculous abomination of just modernity,